If a meteorite suddenly soured the air and began terraforming our planet, what would you do? As a connoisseur of movies, I have high respect for great ideas executed well. Give me some high-res landscape a character to care about, a logical plot, and an impossible enemy, and I'm in. This movie got the great ideas part right, but it's scoring a solid goose egg on the rest of it. Aliens have arrived to make our planet hospitable for their coming invasion, and if we don't use actual logic and our boundless human resourcefulness against them, they're going to succeed. I'm going to break down the mistakes made, what you should do, and how to beat the idiocy of mankind in Risen. In Badger, Pennsylvania, a family sits down to dinner. When their house vibrates, the lights shut off. Something hits the ground outside, shattering the windows. As birds begin to crash across their roof, the father realizes whatever struck the ground is toxic. With no bug out plan, no air filtration masks, and nowhere to run, the entire family succumbs to an invisible poison that liquefies their lungs within seconds.
Rob?
It doesn't take long for news to spread across the country about something happening in Badger. Some think it's a terrorist attack, others a chemical plant explosion. Whatever it was, the government has cordoned off a 50 square mile area around the town and no one's allowed in without hazmat suits. The army pays a visit to Dr. Lauren Stone, an exobiologist with the personality of a wet paper bag, which will make sense later on, but which makes her an absolute slog to watch. She's been looking for life on other planets forever, and she's recently been ridiculed in the scientific community for claims that extraterrestrial morphology can be found in bacterial life in Antarctica, basically claiming the aliens are already here. The army brings her to the base of operations for the Badger disaster. Colonel Emmerich tells her, along with astrobiologist Dr. David Santiago, that a meteorite the size of a basketball hit the Earth hard enough to basically dissolve, turning the air and soil toxic for 20 miles in all directions. It also insta-killed nearly a quarter of Badger's population. It tells them they're being brought into, he uses the phrase, do your thing. So I guess I'll fill in that blank myself and assume they're here to take samples, identify components, and record observational data. That means you're bringing in some chemists from the CDC too, right? Their chemical emergency response team is the one who shows up within 2 hours of any crisis involving chemicals or toxins. Oh no, it's just these two biologists. Okay, don't get me wrong. Astro and exobiologists study the early evolution and planetary conditions necessary for life, and they'd add valuable insight here. But they're not the people you bring in when you know annihilation is happening. If those toxic fumes set up shop as a surface mold or sprout flagella and start burrowing into human flesh, you need these people. And if that's already happening, then maybe a heads up is in order? But no, that's all the prep they get before they're suited into loose-fitting movie regulation hazmat PPE and shipped off to the moon, apparently? Guys, have you ever seen Pennsylvania? It doesn't look like that. They arrived to a tiny impact crater that looks like it was produced by an enthusiastic golden retriever, where Lauren discovers a single strange red plant growing in the center. She returns home and Googles recent meteor events, which is just very vague. Of course, the search engine only returns information about the Chelyabinsk meteor from 2013, the one we all saw everywhere on Russian social media that was momentarily brighter than the sun. She clicks a malware Reddit link and discovers a totally super secret for realsies classified interview with a Russian witness. She says that after the meteor, half of the affected area was evacuated by the military because a giant tree grew out of the crater and killed all life nearby. The woman in the video was later killed for talking. Back at the incident's base camp, two doctors dressed like they want to catch something begin an autopsy on the body of the father from the beginning. They make a single initial incision down his torso, then recoil in horror as black viscous liquid begins to pour out of the corpse, then suddenly recedes back into his body and heals the wound. The dead man sits up, eyes open, unblinking. The smart, cowardly doctor flees from the room immediately. The foolish, brave doctor stays behind. She creeps forward and feels for a pulse, but there isn't one. He's still cold to the touch and unresponsive to questions. And he's not an isolated anomaly. 49 other bodies suddenly rise in cold storage. News of this miracle spreads like wildfire. Doctors rush in to diagnose this sudden case of undeaditis, discovering that all 49 resurrectees lived within close proximity of the crash site and ingested microscopic particles of the meteorite. One doctor suggests they're not so much alive as they are hosts to some new life form, sort of like how a fungal cordyceps parasite will take over an ant. The collective group of basically dead people have no respiration, no blood circulation, no heartbeat. The only movement they make is to angle their body so it faces a certain direction, and genetic testing reveals the sequencing of their DNA is actively rewritten. In the real world, mutations can be beneficial, harmless, or harmful, and occur for a variety of reasons, including pure chance. Mutations that alter long stretches of DNA are called chromosomal mutations. They're more potentially dangerous because they can affect more than one gene or protein structure. Some can cause things like ADHD, while others cause cancer, Parkinson's, and Tay-Sachs disease. But it's not just how much of your DNA changes, it's how fast. In September 1999, a Japanese man named Hisashi Ouchi was exposed to 3.4 times more radiation than the lethal amount during a uranium processing plant accident and was kept alive for 83 days. During that time, the radiation destroyed his lymphatic cells, nuked his white blood cell count, and damaged multiple organs to failure. All these people just sitting here should look like human caterpillars mid-metamorphosis, if scientists can witness the recoding of their DNA in real time. Lauren tells the colonel she thinks this is a repeat of what happened in Russia, and it's an intentional alien attack. He laughs because her only evidence is the single Russian video interview, but he still lets her go before the presidential cabinet to tell the same theory, so they can ridicule her too. You know what would be an effective way to earn goodwill in a room like this? Doing the job you were brought here to do. Why aren't you sampling that plant you found? Let's begin sequencing its DNA. Let's request permission for an experiment in which you feed the plant to some mice to see if that impacts their behavior. A soil toxicity report should be back by now. Let's take a look at that. And since you know they're all facing the same direction, how about you run a simple experiment to see if they're facing something specific? For example, divide the population. Leave some where they are. Take a second group and place them in a pitch black room. Take a third group and put them in a U-Haul, which you drive slowly in circles of increasing diameter. Or just use common sense. It should take no time at all to figure out that they're orienting themselves toward the crater. Put together the bare semblance of a scientific investigation, and they might take you seriously. I mean, in a scenario where no one has information, real investigative divisions wouldn't be dismissing anything, especially if it's presented in a professional capacity. Then again, a general in the room suggests incinerating the entire resurrected group, and within hours, that proposal is broadcast on live television. So maybe this is just a live-action cartoon pretending to be science. Is that a real proposal someone would suggest? Absolutely. But there is no way that's making the 6 o'clock news without somebody facing a military tribunal. Lauren begins slipping into the room where the zombies are all left at school desks like kids in detention. She tries to provoke a reaction out of them, accidentally getting exactly what she wanted when her phone buzzes and one of the zombies sees a picture of that red plant on her phone. For some reason, the colonel is the only one to suggest they test the reaction to see if the zombies are responding to the color, the organic matter, or the actual alien plant. What? Actual experimentation. That's crazy talk. And Lauren won't hear it. She insists they just need to take one of the zombies to the plant. And then we get this scene.
It's the plant. Someone in there needs to be taken to this plant.
Why wasn't this plant reported?
It was just a 2-inch seedling.
Yeah, happens to grow in the middle of a toxic impact crater and wiped out an entire town.
Are you trying to tell me that despite the dozens, if not hundreds of hazmat people who have gone into the toxic area to investigate, no one else saw this plant? Are you seriously claiming this biologist didn't report it in the first place? What the hell is going on? It's the nonsense that keeps on giving. In the same scene, a soldier alerts them that the It has gone viral. What has, you might ask? The plant in the crater, which has grown to the size of a skyscraper in the 2 days since Lauren was brought in. The in-story news reporter tries to brush it off, saying no one's been in or out since the event except the scientists, who didn't report seeing anything. You mean to tell me none of the dozens of military personnel and reporters along the exclusion zone perimeter fence noticed a giant claw growing at the rate of several meters per hour? Do these people have eyeballs? Instead of being brought before a congressional panel, Lauren gets what she wanted. The male zombie from earlier is flown right to ground zero, where he awakens as if from a million-year slumber and tells them he can only function within the toxic environment of the tree. For some strange reason, it decides it'll only talk to Lauren. It tells her that their world died. They basically shot out spores toward Earth because someone who called themselves Supernova 94 sent them the coordinates, saying their plant could survive here. Supernova 94? What, were you guys playing Call of Duty together? The alien notices a pair of scientists drilling for a plant sample and warns that they won't go down without a fight. Their atmosphere-producing plant won't grow anywhere else. He says they have protective abilities and proves it by force controlling a guy to wreck a soldier's suit before neutralizing everyone with a brain-splitting sound that gets the soldiers to kill each other. That's okay, we'll just firebomb it with an unmanned drone. Can you control metal, Dr. Magneto? I don't think so. The only survivors are the alien and the scientists still in their hazmat suits. And like I said, an unmanned drone is sent in almost immediately to kill the infected man. For some reason, the drone doesn't fire. They don't try it again. So they send in a manned aircraft. The rocket hits a protective dome around the plant. The world suddenly descends into pandemonium as reports of strange noises and killer fogs come in from as far away as Kenya and India. Crops begin to die. The ground vibrates constantly, and Supernova 94 lands themselves a spot on the FBI top 10 most wanted list. Militaries the world over take control, and the general's original idea to torch the other 48 survivors kicks into effect, which, just know, if we can't kill the plant, then we're experimenting on these 48 to see what can kill them. And yet, Lauren's free to wander up to the plant and the alien without a military escort and without any PPE covering her body anymore. So couldn't we just take this dude out with a sniper round from within the dome while his back is turned? Or send in a little robot dude strapped with a vacuum bomb that can suck the oxygen from this dome and kill the plant that way? And if it only lets Lauren into the dome now, well, we'll erect a few statues to honor her after we hide said thermobaric weapon in her shoes or backpack and trigger it while she's talking to him. It's not a mind reader. It's shown limited telekinetic powers at best. The alien tells Lauren that she's the reason they came here. He touches her hand and has her relive a memory from her childhood when her father brought her to Area 51 after an alien crash landed in Alaska. It died because it hadn't adapted to our environment yet. Despite being one of the most heavily guarded bases in the world, they just let this child roam free. She encountered the alien and connected with it. The alien changed her, mutating her DNA and instilling her with an obsession with science, resulting in her gift kid syndrome and her ability to manipulate other people. She also built a high-powered communication device in her shed that allowed her to contact the alien homeworld and send them coordinates for Earth as well as the composition of her atmosphere.
Welcome home.
I mean, they found Earth themselves before she ever showed up, and an atmospheric reader and a galactic black box GPS would probably be pretty standard issue on any intergalactic vehicle. So anyway, in the end, the plant sends out underground chutes that erupt into egg-like apparatuses all over the world, which turn out to act like some sort of fungi that spreads atmospheric smoke, terraforming the Earth, killing off endemic species, including humans.
It's been 6 months since the invasion. I'm on my last oxygen break.
So ends humanity. The film only ends this way by ignoring the core realities of being human and American. We would absolutely nuke Pennsylvania if we couldn't destroy this plant some other way. There'd be no time for it to send out roots to sow the earth with its toxicity. We'd kamikaze it and start making cheesesteaks in Detroit. We wouldn't even need to. A thermobaric bomb, a pesticide bomb, any bomb that returned the atmosphere within the dome to Earth levels would destroy the plant. Not to mention, if Lauren's Russian research was real, that means Russia was able to get rid of their alien plant back in 2013, so we can too. For those reasons, I think Risen was beaten. And you can bet, if all else failed, we would nuke ourselves into oblivion so they wouldn't even be able to take it anymore. If we can't have it, nobody can.